I'm going to call the Select Board meeting for April 13th to order at 7 o'clock. Gordon, would you please lead us in the pledge?
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
That's Gordon too.
Do we want to add, Dick, do we want to add these minutes to the agenda as well?
No, we approved those last meeting. That's a final version.
Okay.
Right? Is that
Yeah,
correct?
but just to give you a copy, so yeah.
Okay.
All right, I need a motion to approve the agenda.
Make a motion to approve the agenda for April 13th, 2026.
I'll second it.
Any discussion?
Do we have to add
Add,
this?
yeah.
Oh, yeah. We need to add during the 840 license application approval thing, the first class license, liquor license, first class restaurant bar license, third class restaurant bar license, and an outside consumption permit for the Lake Bomoseen Lodge LLC.
I'll still second it.
Any more discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. So I want to welcome Professor David Blow's journalism class to the meeting tonight. Thank you for coming. Hopefully, we don't bore you too much, and maybe you can pick up a few tidbits. It's a long meeting, so I'll leave it up to Professor Blow as to when he's thought you've had enough, okay? And if you leave before the meeting's over, I totally understand it's happened before. But that's Professor Blow's call, okay? And thanks again for bringing your students.
Nice to have you all here.
Look forward to it every year.
What else will you be doing?
Well, maybe you'll walk out of here with a little more knowledge than you had before. That's the whole point of the exercise, right? Okay, so we're gonna move on. Citizens' comments, items not on the agenda.
You haven't done the minutes.
Oh, thank you. It's a team sport.
I was hoping we were gonna skip it so we could get out of here a little earlier,
It's a
but
team sport.
make a motion to approve the minutes for 3/23/26.
Second,
Any discussion?
yes. At the bottom of page 1, I don't think it was meant to be Charlie Brown. I think it was supposed to be Mark Brown, maybe?
No.
No, it really was Charlie?
It was.
Oh, okay, 'cause-
I'm still working on him.
okay, all right.
It's a work in process.
Yeah. It's a tough deal.
Okay, on page 2, under the bridge and culvert, down 1, 2, 3 lines, not believe that there is a reason to put another pole rather than move another pole. And the next line down, it should be cost him money, comma. And over on page 3, at the top, the third line down, a comma before the if. And down under the police department upgrade, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 lines up from the bottom of that paragraph, we got 4A with a little a, and I think it should be a capital A. And down in the next paragraph, the second line up, there should be a comma after ordinance. You know, I hated English in school. Okay, on the top of page 5, is that J. Roy or Roy Newton?
What page are you on, Mary Lee?
Top of page 5.
Top of page 5, the very top.
That was Joey Roy.
It is Joey. Okay, I thought that might be Roy Newton.
No.
Okay. Down for where R. Coombs made a motion. He's not allowed to make a motion without giving up his chairmanship. I'm wondering if we have to re-motion it.
Which page are you on again?
Page 5.
I think I made that motion.
You did make that motion.
Okay, then we change that to R. Steele then.
He did make, yeah, you made that motion, I did not.
Okay. On page 6, down after the first class restaurant and bar license, go up 1, 2, 3, 4 lines, and it says he questioned. There should be a comma there before the if.
I'm sorry, where's that, where you at?
Right here on page 6, right there.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. On page 7, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 lines down. A comma should be between it and if. And then if you go down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 6. At the very end, it says M. Brown questioned, comma. And then down further, I know I'm comma crazy. Three lines up on the same paragraph, Spalding questioned, comma. And under the Municipal Code of Ethics, the second line from the bottom, R. Coombs questioned, comma. On page 8, under purchase orders for approval, second line down, seems unfair to tax residents, comma. Over on page 9, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 lines down, it says M. Brown questioned, comma. And should V-Trans be all capitals? Where it's a V and then the
It's
rest?
an acronym, it should be all capitals.
So that should be all capitals. Down to the next paragraph, 2 lines up, M. Brown stated that, comma. And the next line down, they could get a couple more years use out of it. Take away the apostrophe, because that's not a possessive there. Down under action items, 1, 2, third one down, Dewey is spelt wrong on Dewey Field. And on the back page, page 10, it's the second paragraph. You got me as a capital M and a small l Harris. And I'm done with commas and everything else.
Anybody else?
Page 4, the Act 181 future land use. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 lines down. Is going to be putting on hold Act 250 until 2030 so that it can be reviewed more. It should say Act 181, not Act 250. Page 5, Dewey Field Playground Equipment RFP. 1, 2, 3, fourth line down. He found that 26 to 28,000 picnic. He found that for 26 to 28,000 picnic tables, playground equipment, preparations for equipment, and gazebo could all be put in. I don't think that was right. I think that we can't do all that for 26 to 28. Am I right on that?
No, that was all correct.
That's correct, we can do all that for 26, okay. I thought it was way more than that for some reason.
Well, technically, we only have 20,000. The 8,000 to 10,000 is for the prep, like buying wood chips and that kind of
That's all I had.
Anybody else? One minor thing, page 3, 12 lines down in the police department update, where it says there was a float bridge incident where an elderly man was lost in the woods, and officer should be officers, that should be plural. There were 2 officers involved there. That's all I want to add to what's already been said.
Should we take out elderly man since he's your age?
No. Either one, I'm still going up that river in Egypt.
Okay, I just want to double check that.
Doesn't make
part.
it false.
Nothing here tonight.
All in
no?
favor?
Aye?
Aye.
Aye.
Merry Christmas, Mark.
Not really.
Anyways, moving on. Now we'll do citizens' comments. Any items not on the agenda?
Anybody on Zoom?
Nobody on Zoom? Okay, do you know who everybody is, Mike?
I don't. The BD, that must be one of the students, I would assume. There's a BDHAG. Is that one of your students?
No, Anya is one of my students, but I think that's the only one up there.
So, BD Hag, can you identify yourself, please? If you don't, I'm gonna put you in the waiting room.
Oh, Bill and Diane Haggerty, maybe? Would make sense.
Is that Bill and Diane Haggerty? Is BD Hag?
Well, it's still their responsibility to identify themselves. We're not gonna,
Do you need to tell them to unmute themselves, Mike?
Well, they are muted, so to answer, you're gonna have to unmute yourself.
we're not gonna wait all day, so.
Oh,
Yes, it is Bill and Diane Haggerty.
Thank you very
Thank
much.
you. No citizen, we have a citizen's comment.
Yes, Mary McIntyre. I just wanted to share with you that I just came from Friends of Castleton Parks and Rec lettuce cookie supper fundraiser. And wow, what a turnout. Our guest chefs, Janice from the Farm Stand Cafe and Andrew Bredding from formerly Third Place Pizza and Laura Valcor, and the young girl's idea that it was Emily Brown. And the volunteers we had and the people coming out and people texting me with what wonderful meals it was. So just wanted to share that with you, that the community's pretty excited tonight, and we sold 101 meals.
Oh, well, good.
Super.
So, and
Well done.
thank all of you who supported that, appreciate it. And the university hockey players were there, and they made all the deliveries. The elementary school kids did the placemats that came with them. All sorts of businesses in the area. We'll get out all the thank you notes, but just a very heartwarming experience. So,
Awesome,
thank
thanks,
you.
Mary.
Thank you, Mary. So we have nothing in our packet for the naming of the private road Mulholland Drive, so you're gonna have to fill us in on that one, Mike.
Yeah, unfortunately, I didn't put anything in your packet, did I?
You did not.
So, anybody know where they live up on, next to the highway garage? So they subdivided the property past Ellis Drive, and he wants to put in a driveway to those houses that he's in. Basically, it's for his grandkids, I guess, but, so they want to name that Mulholland Drive because they can't do anything for 911 addressing until the name is,
It's off Ellis.
yeah, it's off Ellis Drive,
Is Ellis a private road?
yes.
And this would be a private road
It'd be a
too, so
private
we
road.
don't incur any obligation.
Just to, so it gets named, so it can have a 911 address and all that, that's the formality. I don't have any, like, linear feet or anything like that, but,
We have to approve the name so that they can get a 911 address.
I would
I
make,
make a motion that we approve, Oh, there we have.
Got some maps for you.
Perfect. How you doing?
Good.
So where is
You
your
can pass
house?
them down if you want. That's, the purple line is the existing Ellis Orchard Road.
Yeah,
This yellow line is the proposed road. This is Stacy Road. Town garage is right here.
right here, okay.
Why don't you pass some of those along, Mark?
Stop being a hog here.
Thank you.
And you've subdivided 3 lots in there?
Well, 4, I guess, technically. It was 1 that turned into 4.
Just half acre lots.
I would make a motion that we accept the name of Mulholland Drive for the road described in subdivision survey of Kevin and Jill Mulholland.
I'll second it.
Any more discussion?
Can I get a copy of that? So, thank you.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Have fun.
Thank you. Thank you all
That
for
easy.
Thank you for your time.
You're
See you,
welcome.
Kevin.
Thanks, Kevin.
Yeah, this is a new thing that came up a few years ago, and there was a house up, or a road up on, East Hubbardton Road that existed for a while, but it didn't have a name, so we had to officially give it a name. So, I don't know when this became the select board's responsibility, but this makes it official. Act of the legislative body, I guess. Rec Department update. Micah, you're up.
So I have a more general update for you guys, and then I was hoping to also talk a little bit about grades 5, 6 sports, and I have a little presentation on that as well for everybody tonight. So thank you again for the invite to these meetings. So just quickly looking at numbers for registration for the summer. Summer registration has been quite busy. Right now on your slide, you can I broke it down kind of by camp. Adventure camp is taking off, and most weeks have over 20 people. And then we have a number of people that also we're waiting for payment from. So the way I'm explaining to people is number of people registered is the people that are confirmed, they're fully paid. And then waiting for payment are people that have filled out the HeyGov form, but they chose to click on pay later. So we're still waiting for payment either in cash or a check from them. It's honestly one of those things I don't really like about HeyGov. I wish we would just take people's registration and we would know that they were confirmed. But it is a feature that we do want to allow people to pay cash and checks. So we do have to wait for that period. The big change right now is that our original plan for the teen camp, where we're going to be going off-site every day, has changed a little bit. We're going to still try to do some trips, but we're going to house it here and try to do things that will be either coming into the program or things that we can walk to. So the registration didn't really turn out the way we had hoped. And with the cost of gas going up and up and up, we were concerned that we might be potentially losing money if we were to rent a van and get gas for that. So we're trying to reevaluate it, and we'll see kind of how things kind of go. It's still on the slower side, so we're going to give it another couple more weeks, and then we kind of evaluate on that. Tennis in the park. So we have 2 different sections for that for grades 1 to 3 and grades 4 to 8. Grades 4 to 8 is doing pretty well, and grades 1 to 3 is a little bit on the slower side, and we don't have any registration for 1 and 3 or the adult program. Sailing has reached its maximum for week 1, so they're the first program of the summer to sell out for week 1. We still are taking people for week 2. So good job to Joe Mark and his team to having a really good program that people are really excited for, and that sold out for that. And then the STEM program also is another one that has been a little bit on the slower side. Again, this is a newer program that we're offering, and it is a little bit more pricey, but we're hopeful that we'll get some more registration for the numbers for that as well. But again, it's been on the slower side. Mary provided some statistics for us for the month of March for pickleball that you can see on there. Did really well with that. And we also introduced our first pickleball tournament that I wanted to thank a lot of people that were involved in that process. PEG TV have helped us with closed circuit camera that we were able to live feed from the gym into one of the classrooms, so the gym was not as popular. So they were efforts with that. The MRC with Eric Pulver were able to provide first aid coverage. Fortunately, we did not need them, but we were able to have that available on site. And then Mary McIntyre, Bob McIntyre, Lynn Sachs, and Ron Sachs were all helped with the organizing of the event. People had really great things to say about it, and we're thinking about trying to offer another one in the future. We offered the class over at R&D. This was a free class that in partnership with them. We had 12 people pre-registered for it, and then we only had 2 people that showed up that day. So this is something that's kind of interesting to me, that I keep on hearing all this demand for really low cost and free programming. We offered it. It was a really good hands-on program. It wasn't just standing off to the side. They actually took off wheels, or they got to look under a vehicle. And then we only had 2 people show up for that. So I'm not exactly sure where it was, but I mean, what caused that, but it was something to note on there. And then we also have officially onboarded 4 college students that are helping us over at the front desk. We started that last week. I didn't realize actually that it was spring break. So the schedule changed a little bit, but this is our first week that we are having front desk reception in the afternoon and the evening, so that we can offer 7 days a week of open gym. So we have mostly basketball going on for the kids, and then a little bit of mixture for basketball, floor hockey, and indoor soccer for 18 and over. So we're really excited for that. The numbers have right now been on the slower side than I would have expected, but it's something that, again, we're entering only our 2nd week, and I'm hoping that as time goes on in the spring, those numbers will continue to grow. So that's the kind of general overview. Are there any questions about anything I've kind of gone over before we kind of dive into grade 5, 6 a little bit?
I'd kind of like to know how much each, whether it's camp or whatever, what you're charging.
Yeah, so the adventure camp, we are charging $100 a week. And then if people want to do a half an hour before camp, it's an additional 15. If they want to do an aftercare for an additional 30 minutes, it's another 15 as well. The teen camp is down to $100 a week. No before care or after care for that program. And then tennis, I think, is $70. I would need to double check on that one. Sailing is $100. And again, these are resident rates. They're a little bit steeper for non-residents on all these. And then STEM, I believe, is $350 for a half day, or like $400 for a full day on those.
What is STEAM camp?
It's more focused on science, technology, engineering, arts, and mathematics. The other camp is a little bit more of your traditional camp. They do have a cooking component. They have sports, arts and crafts. The STEAM one is a little bit more focused on the science end of things.
I really like the 7-day gym schedule. I think that's gonna be popular in time. It's just gonna take a while.
Yeah.
We'll figure it out, but that's
Sure.
a nice utilization of the facility.
We're trying, and we'll see what we get.
And that's going to be how much?
So right now, the price for the open gym is $5 for a resident and then $10 for a non-resident. And part of that is that we don't keep a lot of cash. We don't keep any cash on site for change. So I'm trying to pick a rate that will reduce the chance of having to make change. We're still having some challenges with that, but we're trying to figure out what would be a good cost. Plus, the college students, we are paying for 2 of them, and then 2 of them are work study. So we're trying to do what we can to recuperate those costs.
Thank you.
I got a question. Report doesn't have any.
No questions on that part of your report.
All right, so let me hand out the little.
You got something, Mike?
Yeah, it's,
Go for it, Mike.
on the venture camp, just so people that are listening out there, what's the cutoff for those that are on a wait list? If it's not filled up, is there any, when it opens up that, how to fill those? Last year, I know we had some issues with filling up the slots.
So when do we start taking people from the wait list?
Yeah, let's say I'm on the wait list for payment and I haven't paid, and there has to be a date somewhere where it says, okay, if you didn't pay by this date, we're gonna open it up so other people can apply?
Yep, so right now, people are not officially registered and on that list until they paid. So if we start reaching our 60-person maximum, the moment we hit 60, even if you haven't paid, we're taking those payments first. And then in terms of when do you have to pay by, we're asking people to pay by the Thursday before the camp starts. So if camp started today, Monday, we would have needed the payment by the Thursday before. And that just gives us enough time to be able to print rosters and just make sure that people understand to not expect. We're not gonna take payment the day of. It just would be out of control. And one of the things I should also mention publicly on this, in all of the summer programs, we're introducing an authorized pickup. So at the time of registration, people are listing pickups that people are allowed to pick up their child, and those people need to provide an ID at pickup until staff are sure that that is the person that is authorized to pick them up. And it's just an extra safety measure to make sure that the right person is picking up the right child. And we really are gonna work hard on trying to educate people on that. We know that people are gonna forget their ID on the first day, but the more we can educate people on this now and before camp, it's gonna help to overcome those challenges.
When does the first week start?
July 6th.
And then it's every week thereafter?
Yep, it's every week and then it goes till the end of August. And that's for the teen camp and for the adventure camp.
And swim lessons.
Swim lessons, that would be, I have talked to Martha on that. I've not heard anything. I know we've been trying to hire instructors and at this point, we haven't really heard anything, so I think Martha was trying to reach out to John, I think it was. But I don't have much information on that.
Because last year started in June. And so there's some work we gotta do before then. I talked to Martha today, there was no discussion about dates, but that swim camp will be one of the offerings that the town has in June. We're gonna expand the swim area too, because if you go out to the buoys right now, you might be to your kneecap. So they're gonna expand that out, and I'll be coming back to the board with Beck Sinclair to hand pull weeds. And so we can get the swim area, make sure we get that cleared out so people can enjoy it, not be up to their knees in weeds.
All right, do we want to have the discussion on grade 5, 6? That's kind of a subtopic on here.
On what?
On the grade 5, 6 sports. I just want to make sure that I'm not digging into.
Yeah, I think that we need to resolve that.
Okay. All right, so what is this?
Well, I think it's already decided that Slate Valley Union, or Slate Valley School District is not doing it. Is that correct?
That is incorrect.
That is incorrect, okay.
Right now, they are planning on having it part of their budget, but they're waiting to hear back what our decision is. All right.
Because I remember when the gentleman was here 2 meetings ago, he said specifically that they were gonna cut it from the budget.
I was on the school board meeting last week, and they're not fully looking to cut it.
Okay.
And the wording that Eric Ramey, who's the athletic director, keeps on using is transitioning. So that's his words, not mine on here. So just real quick on here, what is being proposed? The proposal is to break this into a 2-part transition. The first one would be basketball starting next school year, so starting in the winter of 2026-27, and then soccer would be coming in the 2027-2028 school year. So it would not all be at the same time. So again, that's looking for that transition. So why is this being proposed? The big reason is that with combining a bunch of the schools together, the rosters are now much higher. I can give all the specifics on these numbers, but briefly for basketball, they have had 15 kids for girls, and then in 1 year, and then the next year was 16, and then for the boys, it was 19. I think it was 19 and 12 or something. So the way their rules are set up, they can only bring a certain number of players per game because they have to play by the state rules on there. So the big thing that Eric is pointing out is if we do it as recreation, we're able to form more teams, allowing more kids to be able to have more playing time, and be able to kind of arrange the rules that we would like to. So not all the players are going to every game. And then in addition, busing the kids, we don't provide transportation for recreation, but the schools are busing the kids, so that's starting to get more expensive. And then also the more greater flexibility in the practice time. Right now, they're mostly practicing after school, but if we did it at recreation, then we'd have the opportunity to be able to pick and choose where we wanted to have the practice time. So the schools would be helping us during this transition. For the soccer season, they were helping us with soccer balls and the goals in the nets. The goals in the nets are currently over at the fields already, and then we'd be able to have those soccer balls. They would help us with soccer balls and basketball uniforms, and then they've also said that we'd be able to use gym space and field space over at the elementary school when it's not conflicting with another one of their programs that they have. So again, I keep on viewing a lot of my job right now as kind of weighing the scales. So in this example, there definitely is a scale that we will have greater expenses because we'll have more gym usage and we'll have more shirts to buy, more refs to pay. But we're also, with more signups, we'll be able to balance that out with additional revenue. The only things that the big things would be also that the equipment could be reused and, yeah. So in summary, kind of breaking down the pros and the cons, we do have that greater flexibility in the roster size. Ultimately, if they decide to cut or transition this for us, grade 5 sports, then there's nothing that, then right now rec would not have anything unless we decided today to have it. And then we would also have more youth involved in the town recreation program. The kids would lose the transportation. The responsibility of finding the coaches and the volunteers and the refs would shift from the schools over to us. And there is slightly more work on my end between creating rosters, problem solving throughout the season, background checks. So there is a little bit more work involved, but in my opinion, I don't think it's anything major. Yes?
Oh, go ahead, Mark. Go ahead.
Eric's not on, is he?
He is not.
I feel bad saying this when he's not here. You know, he gave us a pitch. Mike and I attended a meeting with he and the Fairhaven rec director at the high school, and he certainly made a good case for some of these teams have gotten really large, and kids aren't getting much play time, and I agree with that. I've done extensive research talking with parents, and boy, this is a non-starter. So from the parents' viewpoint, the school budget's not gonna go down, and they're gonna have to start paying $80 to $100 to have their kids participate in a rec program for us to even come close to breaking even.
So I did look at my notes on what we charged this year. Again, this was not without providing a stipend to coaches. We charged $40 for a resident and $50 for a non-resident. So
how successful were you at getting coaches?
Girls were very successful in the clinic. We were very successful. The boys, we had a little bit more trouble for that.
The volunteer coach is a tough deal today. I talked to a lot of parents, and you know they can't get coaches. Refs also really difficult, and transportation being the big one that, you know, the parents would have to start transporting their kids to and from practices and games. Right now, they typically are after school, and then the school has a late bus that brings them home. So now parents would be required to drive their kids with a volunteer coach. Practice isn't going to be at 3 o'clock. It's more apt to be at 5 or 6 when someone's done with the workday. And now you're going to have to drive your kids to that practice and bring them home. And I talked to a lot of parents that were really, really unhappy about this. They go, is the school budget going down? No, it's not. But we're going to have to pay more. Yes, you are. And there's no guarantee that you're going to have a coach and a ref. People looked at me like I was crazy. Why would we want to support this?
I think that I asked the question when Eric was here, and he said that this past year we would have only had 2 Castleton residents that were actually involved in this, if I can remember correctly.
I think that was the 5th and 6th grade boys basketball team.
Sounds right.
Would have only had 2 Castleton kids, so how can we ask the Castleton taxpayers to fund any of this for 2 students when there'll be more students coming from other towns?
Especially in a time period where people have seen their educational tax go up by double digit year after year after year. And now we're saying, hey, you still have to pay the same amount for your school tax, and now you're gonna have to pay another, whatever it is, for your kid to play 5th and 6th grade sports, and you lose transportation. And the school is gonna help us with uniforms, but they don't last forever. Same with balls, they're gonna give us all this equipment that they wouldn't be using, but that doesn't last forever.
Micah, just so I'm clear,
Yes.
is each town gonna do this, or are we taking in Benson, Orwell, and Fairhaven?
So, I believe.
Can you touch on that?
Yeah, so Orwell, they took on basketball last season.
5th and 6th grade
They did,
basketball.
yep, and when I sent an email out to a lot of other Parks and Rec departments, a lot of schools are transitioning it over to rec. So I believe Benson we would potentially absorb, and then Fairhaven is looking at making the transition this year.
So Orwell and Benson, Orwell and Fairhaven have their own rec department, is that what I'm hearing coming out of your mouth?
I'm saying Fairhaven has their own rec department, and they would be taking it on. I believe Orwell already did, so I think it would just be Benson that does not have a rec program that would be dispersed between us and Fairhaven.
It would be their choice which way they'd go.
Correct.
If we only have 2 players, it's a mute issue for us with the boys.
Correct.
And I think that, I'm just looking at these numbers, so for that basketball year, so yes, they had 16 players, 2 were Castleton. The year before, they had 15, 10 were Castleton. So the numbers do kind of fluctuate year to year.
Could our
What are
kids-
we gonna have? We're just gonna have 2 kids in here playing basketball by themselves.
Well, could our kids go to Fairhaven and join that team
Yeah.
if they have room? If they don't have room, I don't know what we do with the 2 or 3 or 4 students.
I can't speak for Erica on how she would handle it, but I believe that they would also accept non-residents as well. And we do the same thing for all of our programs, we just charge a higher rate.
I don't think our residents want to take their 2 children all the way to Orwell if Fairhaven won't take them. That's kind of my situation.
Are they gonna wanna take them to Fairhaven and pay whatever that fee is gonna be? Pick up the transportation and the expense without seeing a reduction in their school tax?
Oh, I heard what you said, Mark. I was just trying to get the logistics straight. Because Eric said something about, well, this town doesn't have a rec department, so those kids would have to go to a town that has a rec department. So I wasn't sure if Orwell had a rec department. I know Benson doesn't, but.
I think the
West
logistics
Haven
of,
and Hubbardton too.
the logistics of 5th and 6th grade sports are somewhat difficult. And I think they're in the best place right now. I get that sometimes the teams are too big and the kids don't get enough playtime. But on the other side, we don't have parents lining up that want to volunteer. We haven't had any parents come in here and say, geez, our kids are at 5th and 6th grade sports in Fairhaven, and there's 50 kids on the team, they don't get to play. We'd like to have a team right here in town, and we'll volunteer and coach it and ref it, right? Mary, how often did Bob ref games he didn't want to ref this year?
I don't know, he was only out here a couple times, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
I think so.
And we were gonna go through an assigner, but we had some complications that we had to work out internally. Basically, it came down to that the refs, we're paying them, but they're not staff. So I had to work, so I only found out kind of these details right before, and after that, the assigner was like, we're not gonna assign to you guys. So we had plans to have a assigner assign us with refs. It had not to do with, not being able to find a ref. But those assigners tend to charge more than what we'd be paying a high schooler or a volunteer.
My opinion
Nationwide,
is
there's
we're-
a shortage of refs.
Pardon me?
Nationwide, there's a shortage of referees.
And coaches. Parents that volunteer to do anything.
Yeah, probably.
People don't want to volunteer.
So
And,
let me ask two questions, please. First question is, Slate Valley has already made the decision to drop these programs?
They have not.
They have not, okay.
As of the last school board meeting last week, they were waiting for our decision on what we chose to do. Because they
So-
also, they don't want to see us say no and then have the kids have nothing.
Well, that was my next question, is if we say no, then what happens?
I don't think we know that decision for sure. I think they would probably take it on, but I've not had a direct conversation with the school board.
Because Mr. Brown's doing a pretty good job of convincing me to not support this decision. Having been a parent with kids in the 5th and 6th grade, it's been a while, but, you know, I can see where this could be a burden for some parents. You know, and a financial burden too, which may or may not be something they can absorb without giving something else up.
do you remember what it cost the school to put these programs on?
I did ask Eric that question, and he said that he did not have a statistic on that.
It's $52,000.
52,000. So they want to give that up without a reduction in taxes. And then say, now you're going to have to pay the town of Castleton for your kids to play basketball.
Still collect the 52,000 from us.
I think 30,000, that was for busing.
30 is for busing. I think they're collecting the 52,000, they should run the program. And if there are kids that are not getting adequate play time, that stinks, but there is open gym time here. I just don't think, the financial piece is the big one. But second, the availability of volunteer coaches.
I also think that if we make this decision, it should be properly warned and on an agenda as an item, on an agenda, so that if there's parents that want to weigh in, they have the opportunity to do so. If we make this decision right now unwarned, I don't think that would be appropriate.
I think if the school were to drop these sports, there would be an outcry from parents. If
Go ahead.
if we agree to take it on, the school looks good, and then are we able to provide a good program at a reasonable cost? And any reasonable cost is still gonna be more for the parents than what they're paying right now.
I mean, you said 10 kids last year, 2 kids this year, that's still not a huge number. Now you add on the transportation and all that, would that 10 kids have been 0 kids? Would it have been 5 kids? Would it be no kids? Would those two, you know?
We don't know.
And I don't know about from the girls' side, but I know when I was here watching AAU come in, a handful of the boys were also involved in that program as well. So if they're spending that much money on AAU and getting in for tickets, parents that are dedicated might find some means on it. It is a tricky question of like, what do we do when people can't afford things? And I think it's a bigger discussion to have about all of our programs, how we want to handle financial aid. But just throwing that out there.
What did Orwell and Fairhaven decide, do you know?
Orwell, I'm not exactly sure. I know Fairhaven had decided that they were going to take basketball on for the season.
So they agreed to this proposal.
Correct, but I think they're waiting also for our final decision as well.
So they could change their decision, is that what?
I know that they had originally planned on it, and then we had brought it back up, so I'm not sure where they're standing right now.
Okay.
But I think that their intention is,
They might get overwhelmed too if they take it on and other towns don't, and the kids all try to go to Fairhaven to play.
That's what I mean.
Well, if Fairhaven takes it on, there'll be lots of playtime for our kids at the school. Right?
At the high, at the school, at the high school keeps it, yeah.
Okay, but we can't field a team with 2 players, Mark.
No, they'll be part of the school program.
No, if
just
we
like they are
don't
now.
take it on, Fairhaven does, Fairhaven kids will go there, and then our kids will be able to play in the high school team. I don't know, I'm not,
and also we did have 5 4th graders on the team this year that would be moving up to whatever this program would be. Again, I'm kind of impartial on it, but just trying to give some stats.
I think we pay enough in school taxes, and 5th and 6th grade sports has always been part of what we've been paying for. They're not giving us a break, they can continue with 5th and 6th grade sports. If they want to kick some money back our way, maybe it'll be a different story, but we're not covering the whole cost. That's my feeling.
We,
Not to get a couple soccer balls and a couple basketballs out of it and potential use of the field up there when they're not using it.
They're struggling to get coaches and they're highly paid. Do you remember what they pay coaches?
I don't remember that statistic.
Mary might know.
Yeah, I think he said $1,000.
How much?
1,000.
Yeah, I think,
The bowling coach gets 1,500, I think.
yeah, some of them are 1,500.
So I
And
think
now we're
we
gonna ask
should,
people to do that for nothing.
I think we should table this discussion tonight and move on, and we should warn it on the next scheduled meeting where you're scheduled to provide your report. We should put that on the agenda as a separate item. And we should have that discussion, and then any parents that want to weigh in will have the opportunity to know that well in advance. And perhaps we should even do a social media post to the effect that we're going to be having this discussion,
To solicit people coming in.
so that,
And to know that
And
their
put it on the
school
website.
tax would not go down
Yeah.
if the school drops this program.
well, that's something that we can disseminate at that meeting. I don't think we need to do that via social media, but to make sure that that any parents that want to weigh in on this have the opportunity to do so. I think making this decision tonight would be inappropriate. I don't know what the rest of the board feels.
I would agree with that. We haven't heard anything from anybody else.
Yeah, and I think that our citizens need the opportunity deserve the opportunity to weigh in on this.
Agreed.
And I would welcome their input.
So do you want me to reach out to the schools and say that we need some more time to consider?
And tell them exactly what our course of action is, that we're going to have a public meeting, or part of our select board meeting in a month's time is going to be to discuss this issue, and that we would very much appreciate and welcome input from the parents and citizens of this town.
Sounds good.
I mean, that's who we're responsible to.
Yeah.
And then we will make the decision, but,
Eric needs to be here too.
pardon?
Eric needs to be here too.
Well, then, yeah, he should,
This
I
is
agree
his
with that.
proposal, yes.
Yeah, so that everyone's around the table, and anyone who wants to weigh in has the opportunity to do so, and then we'll make that decision then, and then we'll stand by our decision at that point. Does that make sense? Okay, then we're gonna move on to the next item on the agenda. Thank you, Micah, for all your input and all your help.
Thanks,
you.
nice presentation, Mike.
Very much appreciated. Okay, let's talk about the T-ball field. That's all you, Mike.
So, update on the T-ball field. There's still work to be done, but the majority, the heavy lifting's been done to bring in fill, make a new parking lot there. We still have to bring in some stones to kind of line the area so people don't drive over the bank and onto the field. So the plan is to put a gate in and put the stones across so that people cannot drive their cars onto the fields and tear them up like it's been happening. Fairhaven had an incident where their fields got tore up. Ours, a couple of years ago, got torn up. The top coat of the material has to be put on. It's stuff that we're getting from Brown's Quarry. Brown's Quarry donated 12 to 15, I think, loads of material, and we had to purchase the rest of it. But Jeff and his crew, Mike Smith was down there in the excavator, and Britt was hauling, but it looks well on its way to becoming a parking lot. I'm not sure how far I didn't go down today, but they were gonna clear all that vegetation along the fence line between the fence and the width of the machine of the excavator along the back side of that fence between the fence and the railroad tracks, so stuff wasn't growing up into the fence and damaging it. And that way it can be maintained easier after that. So that's the news about the T-ball field.
How much gravel or stone are we paying for?
It was $3,200. It was should be in your warrants.
Yeah, there's a purchase order for that, isn't there?
We also carried money over from previous years and the stuff that was generated by the ARPA, the surplus, that was dedicated just to Dewey Field, Hydeville Field, that our ball fields, and plus their normal budget. And then there was $20,000 that was for the playground equipment. So we're trying to stay within our means there. If there's any questions on the T-ball field? So on Dewey Field, most people know that the big pine trees that were decaying, those things were rotted on the inside, and when they cut them down, they were full of ice. Water had gotten in and frozen, so those are gone, and Scott Welch is gonna replant trees there. That's also the area where the playground is proposed to go. I've been working with Green Mountain Power. There's been a lot of nefarious activities going on down there, so we're working with Green Mountain Power. They're putting a new light in. They already put it in, actually. They're gonna move the pole so that that parking lot's illuminated, so that the police will be able to see from the road too if there's cars in there. The pole that's there that lit up the playground belonged to Green Mountain Power, and the light belonged to them. They're gonna give up that pole to us, and we can put any light we want on it, and be able to keep that where the playground area is lit up as well. That grant, that passive grant, we're gonna add some cameras down there, but they're gonna be run off from the Wi-Fi or the camera system at the village school, or here at the rec center, so that there's no cost to put in Wi-Fi down there, internet and stuff, but we'll have cameras that will also be able to see Dewey Field and the back of this building like it does now. They will be also at the police station so that they can see the stuff from the cameras at the police station and on the duty phone, the duty cell phone, so that better visibility on what's going on down there. I shared with the board, I looked at playground equipment, and what I shared with you, it's rather expensive. There's a couple of different proposals, and once I get that all back, I'll reach out to Lions Club and the Friends of Rec and look at some additional equipment, maybe down the road even, for ADA compliant inclusive stuff, so that more of the playground equipment is inclusive. A lot of it's sensory oriented, like they can play music on things, smaller pieces of equipment that they can move dials on and that kind of stuff. But since the intro to journalism class is here, I am concerned about the durability of what gets put down there because of the students from the university that have been caught down there, and we don't want something that a full-size adult's jumping on and breaking, and that we end up with stuff that's no longer can be used. So, not that picking on the university students, but there's a history there, so, and bring back our signs too.
Oh my
But,
God, right.
So, we're fully underway. I think that we can do this at the $26,000 to $28,000 price range, and provide a quality product, commercial grade, pieces of equipment, and they're not those one piece like you see at the beach. That one at the beach is $64,000, today's cost.
It blows my mind.
Yeah. And the farther you go into the inclusive and ADA compliant stuff, usually it gets higher. I shared that stuff with the select board as well. But we want to make something that is ADA compliant so that it serves all kids. And I talked to Micah. There's a group of people in town. I say a group, it might be 2 or 3 people, but they'd be interested in doing some kind of fundraising, stuff like that, to purchase more of that stuff. But this is a starting point. This gets us something. So more to follow on that, but once I have all the pricing, I shared with you what I had so far. I talked to a lady today from playground something equipment. I wait her quote. I haven't got hers yet. But
Yeah, these are crazy prices.
yeah, just for something simple, like something you climb on that's made for the 2 to 6-year-olds. I mean, they're $3,000-$4,000 for a piece of equipment.
I don't understand this free note flower thing.
Those are the musical things for children, they can use a gong and it plays music. You can tap it and plays music. But you see the price on some of those things?
Yeah, for both of them, it's over $3,000.
Yeah, there's 4, so they get 4 each for the flowers. There's 4, and for the butterflies, there's 4. And then there's a xylophone music thing, but this is all trying to make it so that when somebody goes there, it's not just a 4-foot slide, that there's things for little kids to do as well that aren't able to do that kind of stuff. And parents can,
They have a
Entertain the
sand
kids.
pile.
what's that?
They have a sand pile.
Well, I
They
thought-
love it.
We could get them a shovel. and-
That's right. Give them a shovel and a pail and sand.
So, yeah, but part of this, if I can cut some cost, is we can put those, they sell these tire, you bury them and you can climb on them. They sell those for way more than what I can go to your place, Mark, or up to our, behind the garage and bury them, that are, the cords aren't showing through them and kids aren't gonna get hurt on them. But there are other things. If you wanna buy a log for your kid to sit on in there, $2,000.
I found it quite interesting on the email that Mary sent us, the monkey business. Is there something wrong with that equipment?
No, those are part of they're in my bid.
Okay, because I was thinking that was more reasonable.
No, they are actually more expensive than the other one. Some of them. You gotta look at what we're asking for. Some, the spring riders on one company or one vendor sells it for $800 and the other one sells it for $1,100. So I'm trying to shop it and try to get our best bang for our buck. But I used that one that Mary sent, plus American Parks, and then this new one is Playground,
Just like grinder pumps.
yeah, 24,000 or 12,000.
Brad Turner had a comment, I don't know if it's still up there, a text block, or whatever you call it.
Oh, yeah, hold on.
Oh, hands up now.
That's just a reference, Mike, you can read it later if you want, just potential grants and funding for playground equipment.
Yeah, Rod, we've tried, we went the route looking at some of the grants too, and unfortunately, you read the fine print and we don't qualify for a lot of that stuff, but it's typical. They lure you in with some headline, and then you read the small print and they're like, but not you. So, also the bathrooms, I think I shared with the board that Paul McClure has stuff donated. He's gonna do all the work to re-establish the bathrooms down there. And Russ is gonna get the pump for the septic. They're still trying to find the shut-off for the water. I can't believe it's taken 2 years, but.
They're gonna get all the locks keyed alike and.
So, yeah, all the locks will be keyed alike. Lee Jamison's gonna do the work on the roof, in kind. We already have the material. The stuff was purchased 2 years ago at Gilmore's. And, I think that was it. Big stuff. And, we're putting a gate down there as well, where that, if you recall, when you pull in there, you got the big wide parking area, then it narrows up, and then it opens back up again. We're gonna put a gate there, so that will help with, the fire district won't have to worry about opening a gate to come in to get to their location, but at nighttime, it'll be closed up. I'm working with, I'm gonna have the PD, put it on their schedule to check the place and close and lock the gate up at the end of the evening, because it'll be past when all the rest of the town employees have gone home.
I talked to Andy Vermillier yesterday, and he's got a professional trail builder that's designing the bicycle pump track for down there, for free.
Awesome.
So,
I haven't talked to Jeff yet to get him over there a while before the stuff starts growing, but once the over-the-rail mower is going again, maybe someday, we can knock that stuff down, the vegetation down over near there, before the grass starts growing and stuff starts getting green. And then the other thing on the playground was soliciting some help from Casella's to see if they'd be willing to do some of the landscaping, earthwork type stuff, and then reach out and see if there's volunteers between the Lions Club, the Friends of Rec, and the community about putting the stuff together and putting it up.
I got a question. Heath, since you're here, weren't you involved in shutting the water off there in the fall and the spring?
I went down last Thursday with Mike Smith, and I figured I could walk up with a metal detector and find it, and no go.
I thought in years past, you've come into.
We used to shut it off. I thought I could find this shut off. I went down there and we dug around and metal detector, and I couldn't find it last Thursday.
Yeah, so Paul McClure, he was actually in West Virginia, UTVing, and he's gonna meet with Rick Hall this week, and they're gonna find it. He said I'm pretty sure, almost definite that Rick knows where it is. Rick's no longer the operator for Fire District 1, so he's doing it as a, hey, can you help our kids out kind of thing.
Is that all you got? Let's move on then.
Okay.
Let's talk about a gym floor.
So on the 31st, we held the first pre-bid meeting for replacement of the gym floor. Some questions came out of that. Primarily, there are things like the bleachers, how we're gonna handle the bleacher situation. We talked about the material itself. We talked about how it's applied. Once that floor, the current floor is up, they're gonna, something they call shot blast. It's like sandblasting it. They gotta get that mastic up and create surface tension for the new adhesive. Talked about removing the water cooler out of there because it's not working anyway. There was things about off-gassing and fumes in the building. Doesn't seem like there's real much of a concern there with that. Talked about maintenance of it and how it can be, how durable it is and cleaning of it. That was in the first meeting. Had a second meeting with another company on the 9th. It was Thursday, I believe. Same kind of questions came up. One of the things that was recommended by that company was to have the adhesive tested that's under the floor, because the ones that are underneath the stage are 8x8s, and those were typically asbestos. So he said there could be asbestos in the adhesive, even though we're not doing it we're not putting a floor down underneath there. He said the same adhesive could have been used for the other, maybe. He said just be better to have it checked now and know in the bid packet than they start tearing the floor apart and they find something. And then that price stabilization that the Friends was looking for could get blown out of the water. So that gentleman was gonna send me a copy or a couple different companies that do that testing. And I said if I don't get it this week, I'm just gonna call Labor and Industry, the Division of Fire Safety, and get a recommendation from them on who to have come in and test it, so that we can include that in the bid packet. Or not the bid, or with the addendum for it. There's a couple questions that came out of that. I don't have them in front of me, but so that addendum will go out and everybody knows what they're bidding on to. Because until you take that floor up, they don't know how. Floor leveler was another one that to include in there, and mop boards were another. Do we want mop boards around the side? And the leveling, the floor level, he said, until you get up the old stuff, you're not gonna really tell if there's kind of waves in it and what needs to be leveled out. I think that needs to be in the bid packet so that it's in the price. Not that it was in the addendum, so it's, the people that are bidding on it can include it in their price. Any amazing questions about that?
No, I think it's important to vendors know all the expectations.
They should know it's gotta be level when they're done.
This should be a reasonable expectation. Anything else on the floor?
No.
Highway Department. Jeff, you're up. He's up there.
He was on there, yeah.
Hello.
Hi, Jeff.
Hey, Jeff, the first thing, they've got a separate email in their packet for the salt for Cargill.
Okay.
It wasn't on the agenda item, but they have it in their packet.
Okay, all right. Well, a lot of this hasn't changed. The 13 tandem's still down, has some issues with an oil leak, and I think it's possibly from the oil cooler. The 19 tandem is down. Avalanche worked on it and says it's gonna have to go to international. Looks like an emissions issue. The New Holland, Evan just picked up a cylinder for the over the rail today, and that should be back operational, I like to think by end of the day tomorrow. So we'll see how that goes. Waiting on a cylinder for the grader. That's just a waiting game.
That's repacking.
Yeah, everything else is pretty good. The trackless is still not, it's really just not operational at all at this point. Yeah, other than that, that's the equipment. Projects have stayed the same. As far as CDL status, Josh and Britt are both going to get unrestricted permits to work on both of them getting their manual restriction removed, as well as I'm going to try to shoot for at least one of them to get their Class A, as right now only Mike Smith can haul a trailer. So I'll get that addressed sooner than later. I guess we can skip. Next would be the salt. Mentioned on the last page, Brian Sanderson from V-Trans sent out a blast email to everyone in this district, recommending, if possible, town should purchase this year or next year's salt this year. Just the price went up significantly between 24 and 25 and 25 and 26, and there's been a shortage both years. So Cargill honored their price from last year. So if it's doable, another 800 tons to add to our, I'd say we're at around 350 tons of salt, so we'd be all set for next winter. And yeah, maintenance that we have coming up, grading is going to start soon, so that'll be our priority. And along with that, there is a request to for the 20,000 gallons of chloride, calcium chloride, to be purchased, and that amount is on the second page of 24.8, and that's for the year. We might not even use all that, but that's 20,000 is a good estimate. Questions?
So this question might be for you or for the town manager. The line item for the salt, typically we budget that amount every year. So is that in this current fiscal year's budget, or is that in next fiscal year's budget?
That's a question that I haven't asked Jeff about. If we purchase it, what is our cutoff? Because if it's after 1 July, it's easy, because we already have money budgeted. But we've already spent this year's budget.
That was my question.
Yeah, so if it's in this current fiscal year, we'd have to somehow come up with $90,000 to buy it. And I'm not sure if that's doable. We're in April, so we still have 3 more, 2.5 more months to go with maintenance and repairs on stuff like that.
Is the window open with Cargill for at least 2 more weeks?
I don't know, Jeff, that's something that I don't know, Jeff would have to answer that.
Jeff, do you know how long this window?
Yeah. Let me see. I'll have to reach out to them tomorrow. The original quote said we were good. It's not good till July, but in their quote it said it was good until, I believe, May 21st. They had a typo and it said the 2025, but let me confirm with them this week and see how long that's good for, but it should be towards the end of May.
Well, we need to know for sure, A, how long that price is good for, and B, when we can afford to buy it. If we've already spent the money for salt for this current fiscal year, then we have to either do a little digging or make a hard decision.
I'll talk to our accountant too, because a lot of times when you buy stuff ahead of time, it gets deferred to the next fiscal year. And I just don't, the semantics of that, I want to make sure I'm clear on.
Well, I'm glad you brought this up, Jeff, because I got a feeling the price won't go down. So, you know, buying it now makes sense if we can, you know, as long as we can fund it properly.
Yeah, no, it went up significantly last year. I think it was like
Wasn't it 90?
14 bucks a pound, 14 bucks a ton.
Wasn't it under 90 a ton 2 years ago?
I thought 96 and change or something
no,
like
last
that.
year.
It was the 24, 25. It was 98.50, and last year it was, I think, 112.50.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, I think it was 2 or 3 years ago, I remember it was under 90 a ton. So the price is, the price going down is probably not anything we could expect. Okay, we'll move on to the,
No, I got a question.
on salt?
Yeah. What does Barrett's charge us to truck it, or is the price per ton pay them?
that's included.
The 112.50 per ton, Barrett's will truck it all, no matter how much tons we get.
Yes, sir.
So Cargill pays them? Do I,
I'm guessing so. Barrett can't be, you can work with him, but he doesn't work for cargo. So he's, I imagine, a trucking contractor for cargo.
oh, okay. I just want to make sure that we can get a bill from Barrett for trucking the 800 tons in, that's all.
Yeah, no.
Okay.
So the 112.50 is delivered, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So let's move on to the calcium chloride. Now, that is budgeted, isn't it? Mike?
Yes. And in your packet, it said $5,000, but instead of having to do, because our tank only holds that much, so instead of having to keep coming back to the select board, it's budgeted for that 20,000 gallons per year. We use their equipment, if you remember back to how
Yep.
we got there, how we got here. So if you authorize all 20,000 gallons at 24,000 something, that will get us, it's within our budget and it'll get us through the year, and we might have some left over. I don't
We
know.
have budgeted 24.8, right?
More than that, a little more than that.
So I would make a motion to approve the purchase of 20,000 gallons of calcium chloride for the sum of $24,800. And who's that gonna be from?
Innovative Solutions.
I thought I saw a slip, what was it?
Cargill.
No, that's a salt.
Innovative Solutions.
From Innovative Solutions.
I'll second it.
Any discussion on the calcium chloride? All in favor?
Aye.
So our course of action on the salt is we're gonna do, Jeff or you are gonna do a little research on when the cutoff is and how we're gonna fund it.
Yes, correct.
Correct.
Anything else any other questions for the highway foreman?
I have a question, but it's a statement, not a question, for the board, to the board.
Go ahead.
I did talk with Evan after the last meeting about disassembling that wood chipper and getting the guards and all that kind of stuff off it. And I think I shared with you, Bob Ward said that he'd be willing to take a look at it after they got done with the tractor. So I did talk with them about that to follow up from the last meeting. And then the other component that was there was a trackless. I think we were talking about that.
Yeah, the trackless is plow only right now.
Yeah, and they tried using the broom and that didn't work. It worked for a little bit and then it didn't work. And so, yeah, so you know what the status of that is.
It's all about the PTO pump, right?
Yeah.
When Bob looks at that chipper, would you ask him, in his opinion, if that motor has been disassembled?
I went up and looked at it the other day. I went up and the head's never been off of it. I don't know what they disassembled on it, but the fuel lines weren't hooked back up, the radiator hoses aren't hooked back up, the throttle linkage isn't hooked back up.
So it'd be interesting to know how they billed us.
$2,800.
I think it was more than that.
Yeah, it was enough.
Yeah, I think it was over 5,000 to tell us it had one blown piston.
Yeah, it's never been apart.
There's no way you can ascertain that without taking the head off.
Yeah, I will ask Bob Ward to verify that.
Take a look at it.
had no compression, you're halfway there, but.
I know, you guys know a lot about this, probably more than others, and so sometimes it's easy to get the wool pulled over your eyes if you don't really know what they'll say, yeah, that's really bad, and you're like, yeah, really, thanks.
Yeah, I think they charged us like $5,000.
That was
They said
expensive.
they disassembled the whole motor, it had a bad piston, and then they put it all back together, and clearly they didn't do either one of those two things. You know, they billed us like 35 hours labor.
And I don't know where it would be, where they got 35 hours labor from, because it's all, the engine part of it, the drive part of it's really bound up, but at least the way it's sitting there right now, like, without taking anything off, it looks like you could pull the injectors out and do a compression check without removing anything. I mean, everything's right there in the open, the engine's only this wide.
Right.
So,
Would you be able to retrieve that bill?
Yeah.
It was a significant number of hours.
yeah, I mean, you can see where the head gasket's still painted the yellow from when they painted the engine. It doesn't look like anything. It looks like some of the bolts, like for the throttle linkage, were taken off. Like I said, some of that stuff had been moved, but other than that, there's not a wrench mark on a cylinder head bolt.
Right. And they had a clear diagnosis of blown piston.
And I did talk with Evan, and he said the thing runs fine until you put a load on it and it starts pushing oil out the dipstick tube. So it's getting crankcase pressure somewhere. But, you know, it probably is a piston, or it could be a head gasket.
Valve guide.
So I think it's worth putting a little bit of money into. It's not worth putting $15,000 into, but I think it can be repaired for significantly less. And we'll have a wood chipper back
That's
again.
what I think.
Amen, I like that.
So,
So you're gonna have Bob Ward take a look at it and
And I'll retrieve the bill, what they charge us to, and hopefully it says what they did.
It did. Yeah, it was pretty itemized.
yeah, I think we should have that available at the next board meeting along with, if you have a chance for Bob.
in your free time, Mike,
No, I was thinking about, saying, with Aldrich.
Yeah.
bring them all in. Everybody that we've got a gripe with from all the money they've
Yeah.
charged. Just bring everybody in, we'll deal with
I
them.
think before we say we have a gripe, we better know that. So let's get our facts together and then we'll move on. So we're gonna move on. Anything else for the highway?
Just want to say that we had a applicant come in, his name is Ed, I won't give you the last name right now. I can give you a name, Dolbin, from Fairhaven, to apply for that other part-time position in the highway department, and he passed his background check, all that stuff, so we're looking at, I got to do a letter of hire and pay rate. They were checking to see what he was making in Fairhaven, but he worked for the town of Fairhaven as well. Good with a string trimmer and mowers and all that kind of stuff, so if everything works out, he would be working
That's
for
your
the summer.
seasonal part-timer?
Yeah, for the summer, yeah. Maybe we can keep up with some of the stuff.
Doing what for us? Right.
Doing the roadside clearing of the bridges and the intersections and weed whacking, cleaning up around our properties up there.
Around the guardrails and that kind of stuff.
Okay.
Something we have to have.
Just struggle every year to make time because they take vacation and then it's just, we've had this budgeted for years and we just can never fill them. Since Pat Travers left. It's been here, it's hit or miss.
Okay.
There's been more misses than hits.
Anything else for highway?
No, I'm good, thanks.
You all set, Jeff? He's already gone.
Yeah, you guys
No,
should
he's
all
right.
have that, invoice from Champlain Valley to your emails as well.
Okay, thank you.
Yep, no problem.
All right, so let's move on to town road and bridge standards.
So this is a new requirement, you guys already adopted the road and bridge standards at a previous meeting. So this is just a certificate of compliance that's saying that we do meet or don't meet exceed the minimum requirements included in the January 21st state approved template, which you guys signed, which we do meet. And then we do have an up-to-date highway network inventory. That was the one that Rutland Regional Planning Commission completed, and which raised an eyebrow for me because all of a sudden we went from a lot of non-compliance 100-meter segments to mostly compliant. And the reason is they removed some of the criteria. like the greater berms and the crowning of the road. So this no longer puts it in non-compliant status. So all of a sudden, we went from quite a few non-compliant segments to very few non-compliant segments. So this, yes, so the answer on both of those was yes. You already signed that we do follow those standards, so this is just a letter that Brian Sanderson sent to me saying, could you please have this signed and get it back to me?
So who's supposed to sign it?
All your names are on it.
Because we don't have one of
No,
those.
I'm just gonna give you mine, so that way I can put it right back in my pile.
Make a motion for,
I would make a motion that we sign the certificate of compliance for town, road, and bridge standards and network inventory.
Second.
any more discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And pass
Let's
it
go that way
down.
with it first. We'll wind it back here, I'll put it in the blue folder. So while that's, anything else for highway while that's going around? Okay, then we're gonna move on to tree service bids.
So in your packets, stump grinding quotes and a couple tree removal quotes. The addresses are on there. All five of them include stump grinding, and two of them are tree removal at 97 South Street and 835 Main Street. These were per the tree warden. Dead or dying trees that are on our property along Main Street. You got 5 quotes back to do the work. I'm recommending Brooks Landscaping. I actually met with that young lad. If you go over the Fairhaven Town line on the left-hand side, he's been putting signs everywhere, and I talked to one person that's used them, and they're like very meticulous. He said the same thing. He goes, I want to leave a good impression. I'm starting out. So this would be an opportunity to see if somebody more local, provides a good service to us, and that he could do it all for $43.50 if you approve it.
So you have the necessary insurance?
He does. Yep.
He has the necessary equipment?
According to him, he does.
He does, I'll vouch for that, Dick.
He was talking about how he did the stump grinding, so I'm assuming that
He
he's
does.
talking about stump grinding, he has equipment to do it.
Okay. Anything more before do we have a motion?
I would make a motion that we award Brooks Landscaping the contract for tree and stump grinding at Crystal Beach, 493 Main Street, in front of the post office, 97 South Street, 835 Main Street, for $4,350.
I'd like to second that.
Any more discussion?
All you have to have is a few beavers and they'll chew them up.
Yeah, they don't clean up the chips, though. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
They do work cheap, though.
Just along.
Moving on, we already did the calcium chloride. Inspection of diesel fuel tank.
So Jeff get off?
He did.
Okay, he's the one that dealt with this, so this Clear Harbors quote was for the inspection and removal of contaminated fuel from our fuel tank at the garage, and I really don't have an opinion on this one so much that since we've used it, we haven't had any issues. It was that one issue with the backhoe where the fuel filter was all smudged up, and Mark had brought it to our attention that possibly there was contaminant or something in the fuel tank. But after talking with Jeff and talking to this person from Clear Harbors, they like, when it gets down to 700 gallons, you're not getting anything out of the tank below that. So, we don't really understand why there was so much contamination or debris in that fuel filter for the backhoe at the transfer station. I know Heath got fuel when the pump they stopped working. They were basically out of fuel, but there still should be 700 gallons at the bottom of that tank that we're not getting. So I'm not sure where that contaminant come from. I guess I'm not convinced that it's the fuel tank, personally. And it's and then we're gonna lose the fuel. They're gonna take that, they're gonna consider it contaminated, and they're gonna take it. And
We
then-
can't put a hose to the bottom of that tank and pump out 10 or 15, 20 gallons and see what it looks like?
Who, us?
Yeah.
Oh, we could, I guess.
Isn't there there must, Heath, have you looked at that? Is there a bung on the bottom of the tank?
I haven't lifted the cover to look.
I believe there was a drain at the bottom, if I remember correctly.
It would seem to me we just take a fuel sample and see what it looks like before we pay $2,250 for somebody to pump it out, and then another $1,500 to transport it, and then $936 to dispose of it.
I know that, I talked to one guy who, I can't say it out loud, I retract that statement. Yeah, I'd rather do it that way. But I followed up, because it got brought up as an issue with the backhoe up there, but we haven't had any problems with it since, and we can't get below 700 gallons out of that thing, so it just seems to me like we're really not, like the intake is not at the bottom of the tank sucking out sludge and anything at the bottom.
I would try to pull a little bit off of that, below that 700 gallon mark and see what's actually in there, but.
Yeah.
Well, Mike, why would it bother just the excavator? We use that fuel in all our other vehicles. Have
But-
we had issues with any of the other vehicles, Heath?
It was the day that it run out that I was filling that thing that it,
So it got down to like as low as it possibly could get,
but
so.
it's not bothered and the other vehicles hadn't bothered.
Yeah, we haven't had any issues with
I
it
think
since.
before we burn $5,000 on a hunch, I don't know.
I agree.
I agree with Rob.
Even just a barrel pump with a hose on it.
Yeah, to
Drop it right to the bottom and pump out
Put on a stick that tells you
You
there's
can,
water in the bottom.
to check for water, but your fuel filter wasn't water though, was it?
Yeah, that's what it looked like to me, but.
So it looked like,
You can do the paste thing like we did here at the rec center.
yeah,
Just put the paste on the stick, stick it down and it'll tell you.
okay.
If there's water in there?
Yeah,
Well, we had a company come in and do that to clean it out and suck out, like, they took a lot of water out of that, because they said over, all that condensation over, all that time, that 10,000 gallon tank's been there.
Well, we may have a problem, but before we spend $5,000.
No, I agree with
Why
you.
don't we spend an hour of somebody's time to find out?
There's no, I'm not arguing anyway, I want to do that rather than pay 5,000, but I brought it before the board just to make it,
Well, there's one more thing for you to get done.
get it tested.
perfect. So I'd like to hear.
Well, you don't have to do it personally, but you have to see to it gets done.
Bob's gonna try to hold me accountable to get some tape and paste.
800 gallons.
You can delegate that one, I think.
It'll be nice to know what's in there.
I agree with you, Rob.
Because if there's 700 gallons of water in the bottom of it, then we'll run it empty again and then have that little bit pumped out versus having to pay to 1,500 gallons.
We can take it out.
All right, we're gonna move on. Transfer station scale replacement.
I'm gonna actually defer this back to the folks from the select board members that we met, because we've talked about this extensively, and I made a recommendation based upon those conversations, so I'd like to defer that to Rob and Bob.
So, the scale, we've all talked about how it's dilapidated and it's gonna be an issue here at some point shortly, so it needs to be either repaired or replaced. We got a couple quotes on refurbishing it with welding. One was 44,000, the other was 46,000. That doesn't include the load cells, how many load cells are there, Heath?
4 on that scale.
4, so they were around, I think, $1,200 a piece. They could go at any time. Those wouldn't be replaced when we had it welded. Brand new scale, which is installation, calibration, load cells and stuff like that from Farnham, was 66,000, so about 20,000 more. We did have one other quote, and that other quote was from, I think, Willie, and that was, by the time it was all said and done, close to 90,000. So, my personal opinion would be the best bet would be to purchase the new scale from Barnum. They'll come and install it, recalibrate everything, then we have everything new versus possibly having to nickel and dime the weighing, the rest of the stuff as it goes along.
So if we pull this trigger tonight, when can Farnham come and do it?
I talked to Nate, and he was just waiting to hear back from us, and the goal that Heath was talking about was before the summer rush hits and people are back, so Memorial Day weekend.
So if we pulled this trigger tonight, is it realistic to expect they could do that?
I don't
know.
We didn't talk.
There's a scale sitting around that fits this.
That's what we told him. I know I told him that was,
Yeah.
we're trying to get this done by May. And he said, well, if I know that I got the bid, then we'll start working on it. Because they bring, it was $1,200 for the crane, 4 hours of crane time. That's in the bid. So it's just getting him saying, yes, you got the bid, let's go. And he said that stuff inside the building is still in good shape. It's older, but it's in good shape, and we don't need to replace that kind of stuff at this point. But he also has a point of sale system that if he was the one to win the bid, he said, I'll give you a demo on the point of sale system.
Who put the scale in that's there now?
Barnum's, I think.
And how old is it?
25 years, 28 years, something like that.
I don't know exactly what it was.
So it's probably pretty well played out. It also says that we're responsible to remove the old scale.
Which they said they can do with the loader and the backhoe, most likely get that out of there.
And we have the ability to do whatever we want with said old scale, whether it be scrap it, sell it,
Okay.
do whatever.
And
How long would that take, Heath,
What,
for you guys to remove the old scale
3-4
without getting
hours?
hurt? Huh?
3-4 hours probably. It just sits in there. It's on a float. You
Oh,
got
okay.
4 bolts to give yourself room and pick it up, walk it out of there. You know,
Okay.
we tried to remove the decking last year. We almost removed it out, the whole thing out of there because the deck was well down.
Okay.
Another nice feature I found out through the grapevine is Farnham, if you pay them $200 a year, they'll be on site when the state comes and checks your scales. The state comes once a year, right?
Yep.
To check your scales. They'll be right on site, so if the state finds something wrong, they'll fix it right there.
So you
won't-
don't have to call the state back again.
Exactly. So the state
The
doesn't
nice thing
leave.
with Farnham, is last year, our scales failed when the state come. I called Farnham and he was in Middlebury working on one the state just had trouble with, and he was here in 2 hours and he fixed our scales, and he has the truck to recertify them himself. He called the guy from the state and it was all clear. The state never come back. They said, we're happy if Farnham's are happy.
We have the money for this?
Yep, so just history, we have 122,000 in the sinking fund, the reserve for this type of thing.
I would make a motion that we purchase replacement scale from Farnham for the transfer station for,
Not to exceed 66,000.
not to exceed $66,000.
Those funds will be coming from the reserve account, correct?
From the highway, for the transfer station reserve. And of that, the freight estimated was 55, he said it'd probably be less than that, that's why I said not to exceed.
Exceed,
It's
correct.
probably gonna be less than that, but
I'd like to second that.
Any more discussion on the scales for the transfer station? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, let's talk about the compactor.
same thing.
The same discussion.
So the compactor that's up there has been pieced together multiple times and it's pretty much done at this point. There's not a lot left holding it together. It's in rough shape. We did have a couple other options that we looked at. Camara's had one out there that was similar but not quite the same. It would have taken substantial fabrication to get that one to work with what we have. And the pumps are different, the lines are different, so there would have been some finagling to make it work. So Evan would have had a bunch of time in it regardless. We still don't know if that pump out there was any good. Heath had found a remanufactured compactor that is $15,000 installed. We do still need to make the chute is a little different size, so Evan will have to fabricate a new chute, which is no big deal apparently for him.
In the electrical.
And the electrical. So my opinion would be to get the remanufactured one for 15,000. I think it's gonna be a lot less messing around. We'd still have to move the one from Camaro's, we'd still have to, even if we got it for free, there's still a lot of labor to our town employees to make it work. So,
We don't know what kind of condition that's in the city for. 20
correct, we don't
Yeah.
know, you know?
Have we ever dealt with Atlantic Sales?
Not that I'm aware of.
Mark, I went online looking, and there was 3 of them that popped up, and this, I sent out emails to all of them, telling them what we had, what we were looking to do, and this is the only guy that responded back to me. I did call that CJJ that Bob had given me a name for, and they don't do anything used anymore, and they gave me a number of a brand new one, which I had sent to Mike, but that one was touching 100,000 for a brand new one to replace that compactor. This one that this guy has, it's got a little bit smaller throat on it, but it does more revolutions per minute, so it handles as much trash as the one we have. And it's supposed to have more compacting power. I don't know, I just started researching them, I just know what I read, you know what I'm saying?
Sure.
This one, I know you asked on the time, this one wouldn't probably be done by that Memorial Day time crunch because he has not got this one totally rebuilt yet. It's in his shop to be rebuilt, but it isn't done yet. I talked to him last Friday on the phone.
So how long will your compactor be down?
It'd probably be a couple days changeover, I'm guessing. The big thing, we've got to figure out how we're going to support that building in the air to slide the other one out, because part of one corner of that building is held up by the compactor. Just saying. So we've got some engineering to do to be able to brace up the one corner of the building, which I think it can be done, but it's got to be done before we can pull the other one out. He was hoping that we would have the other one pulled out of his way, so when he got here, they could slide the new one underneath and start hooking it up.
Well, there's some clever people in this town. I'm sure we can come up with a way to solve that problem.
I-beam and some bracing, and I think we can get it done, but I didn't get that far into it because I didn't want to get...
Have you seen pictures of this machine before it was refurbished?
No, I didn't. I haven't. I've seen pictures of the ones he's got done. They look like a brand new machine. He said he could give us references if we wanted to go that way.
Just to make sure we don't get a machine that's rusted out with a coat of paint on it.
Yeah, the ones that I've seen that he's rebuilt look like he's done a really nice job.
Where's his shop?
It's in New Jersey.
Jersey.
He's pretty well known. Like
Is he?
I will vouch for him, yeah.
So you'd have a lot of faith in this, Bob?
Yeah, yeah.
You'd have faith in this guy?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Atlantic.
Yeah, Atlantic.
He was really responsive. You know, he's one of those guys that I sent him an email within an hour. They'd think back, and he was calling saying, "This is what we do. This is what we got."
I mean,
and he would take our old rusted out one give us $2,000 for the one that we're sitting there, so we ain't got it sitting our way.
Then he'd rebuild it?
He'd rebuild that and sell it to another.
Sell it to somebody else.
Yeah.
So he'd come and install it?
He said he'd come and they'd come and set it all up. I think we've got to have an electrician because of Vermont electrical codes, He was telling me on the phone, we'd have to have somebody there electrician wise, because that's 460 3-phase hooked up to that
That'll
one.
make your hair stand on end.
Yeah, so that's nothing that,
I mean, in talking with Evan, he said the one that we have there, it's just not, there's no more piece, for him anyway, there's no more piece, you're gonna have more to piece it back together than,
you're gonna have to weld patches on top of the patches.
yeah,
that
there's
are
not a lot,
welded
there's
there.
not a lot left.
And they have to replace the bolts in the concrete that hold it in place too.
Stuff wears out, yeah.
Yeah, because it's
So this
rotted.
rebuilt machine would be undercoated and weatherproof?
Would be all paint. He asked us what color, and because we've changed up to green, he was gonna paint it green for us before he brought it here, so. Paint it whatever color you want, orange, pink, blue, he didn't care.
Then
Just tell him
we'd-
what color to paint
We'd
it.
do what we need to do on
Sounds like
periodic
you guys-
basis to keep it from corroding as much? I mean, I
All-
realize it's where it is, you can't do everything.
That one's, I think they said the transfer closed in 98 in Castleton, and that one I think is the original compactor that went in there in 98 when they closed their transfer station, so it's had a long life. It's been rebuilt at least 3 times since I've been here.
Well, it seems like you guys have done your due diligence, so I would make a motion that we purchase the reconditioned trash compactor from Atlantic Sales for $15,000.
I'll second it.
Any more discussion on the compactor? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Get her done.
Thank you.
I'll get Mike the contact man, so Mike can talk with him direct and
Yep.
figure out all the,
Let us know what else you need, Heath.
Thanks, Heath.
I'm all good for now.
Well, I know we gotta talk about a truck, but that's at least a week away, right?
We've got some other homework.
You've spent enough for right now, Heath. Enough is enough. You're done. You got a couple years, you can't spend anything
I don't know
now.
about that, but
It doesn't matter what hat he wears, boy, he's got his hand out.
gotta keep you guys on your toes.
Oh, my God.
You had the wrong hat on
Anything else
tonight.
to do?
We
Okay,
can bring it to their attention, but the state sends these out. We don't do anything like that.
okay, you wanna do the licenses? You can do them all in one big long list unless we're gonna reject one. Or at least each business one as a group.
Yeah.
The last two have tobacco, right?
I would make a motion to approve the outside consumption license application 74709 to the American Legion Crippen-Fellows Post 50 Incorporated and a third-class club license application number 7412 and a first-class club license application number 74710.
I'll second it.
That's for the American Legion?
Correct.
Any discussion?
Only that the names are wrong on it.
You can take care of that.
Well, I don't, from what he said, I can't.
We just have to contact the state to let them know that their database is not correct. And the Legion can do it, or,
I think the Legion can do it.
I mean, yeah. No, I
Put it
mean,
on me, huh?
Well, I think this guy's got enough to do right
no,
now.
the ladies in the town clerk's office get these, that's where they come through. They could say it, but they're not from the Legion, that's the only question, is they're like, who are you representing?
That's what I was thinking, is the Legion.
Yeah, I think it's probably.
So, all in favor?
Is the Legion tax exempt?
We are nonprofit, but we're not tax exempt.
So you have to pay property tax.
Oh, I don't know about property tax. Yes, we pay property tax.
And you're current?
Yes, we are.
Okay, I have no further
Oh, I should have said
paid the
that.
bills.
I had emails from, Megan on all these, that they're all good.
I would assume from now on that we won't see them if they're not, right?
Yeah, and Dick made that comment last meeting.
Or else we'll know that they're
They're
not
not gonna make it in your packet unless.
Correct.
Pete and Megan have.
And they're
done it.
100%.
Okay.
So, all in favor?
Aye. I would make a motion to approve an outside consumption license. The application number is 73313 to Field of Posey LLC, doing business as Third Place.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. I would make a motion to approve tobacco license application number 75045 to Carl Champagne, doing business as Token Glass Shop.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Abstain.
I would make a motion to approve tobacco substitute application number 75053 to Carl Champagne, doing business as Token Glass Shop.
I'll second it.
All in favor? Aye.
Abstain.
Then you got this one.
Yep,
Do you have the,
I do have it right here.
okay.
I would make a motion to approve a first-class restaurant bar license, application number 75301. A third-class restaurant bar license, application number 75300. And an outside consumption permit, application number 75298 to the Lake Bomoseen Lodge LLC.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, moving on. This is a quick discussion for the tax exempt status of Castleton Health. I think everyone has had the opportunity to see Merrill Bent's opinion.
No, after the meeting today, I forgot to send it to everybody, sorry.
Oh,
I'll say
well, I didn't
have
bring a copy with me, but Merrill Bent was pretty clear that she felt that the medical center was well justified in certifying their tax exempt status, and that there was really no good reason why we should feel we could even have a chance to contest it.
I guess that's what it is then.
So
That's what we assumed.
that's what we expected to hear, but now we know for sure. So really, there's nothing, no action this board needs to take. We just need to be aware of it and be aware that it's roughly 3.8 million off the grand list, which is what, 2.5%, 3% of the grand list is. So that's significant, but it's unfortunately not a.
Nothing we have any control over.
Thank you very much, sir. May I have another? No, we don't want another.
So this is new, Dick, just so the
Yeah.
taxpayers know out there. So they've always paid taxes up to this point, and
That's
now all of a
correct.
sudden they say.
Turns out for at least the last 8 or 10 years, they didn't have to, and they were.
I
So,
just sent that to everybody by email, so you have it now.
Okay, okay.
so, there's really no action we can take, no recourse we have. It's just that 3% of the grand list just vanished. Or 2.5%, somewhere around there, right?
Yeah.
Isn't that about the right number?
3.8 out of, yeah, math-wise, don't challenge me on my math right now, sorry, yeah.
It's a little over $1 billion, right? The grand list?
Just under, I thought.
Just under $1 billion? So still, so it might be, yeah, it's at least 3% of the grand list. Am I doing that right? Yes, I am. Yes, Roy?
You know how much, without looking up how much taxes?
I do not. I do not. I just looked at the percentage of the grand list and was thinking about it that way.
Can tell you yours is going up, Roy.
Yeah, all of ours is.
Yeah, because we lost them, right?
Well, unless the grand list goes up, that will affect the tax rate next year.
Yeah.
And what about the oncoming fiscal year? What does that do to us? Is our revenue gonna drop?
Yeah. And then, and plus all the reappraisals that were grieved, and any of those changes are gonna affect it as well. So it's not just 3.8 for that one property, that, all those grievances that are, there's still some at the state level that are still being adjudicated, but that, all that stuff's gonna come off the grand list too. It's not 3.8 billion, but still, add them up.
Okay, let's move on to something else. Updated the large-scale bike and pedestrian grant.
I'll let somebody else do that if you want to.
Well, we had a brief meeting of the steering committee today, and if I miss anything, Mark, please jump in, but the steering committee has decided that phase one, where we agreed with the town manager that we should try to include, or at least investigate the cost of the stretch that's from the post office to the Federated Church driveway, and to not include the section that's in front of Third Place and the village store in between there, because that's still paved and in pretty good shape. So at this point in time, to tear that up and put concrete in at the expense of not doing someplace where there is no concrete didn't make sense. So that, our decision was to recommend that to the state with her, the project manager.
Yep.
And then she was going to be tasked with sending that to the design consultant. And so then they will be doing a design, which we anticipate having a design
In May.
and a cost estimate in May, and then from there we'll know more.
I did talk to Brian later today, and the archaeological stuff is on its way to him, so it's a little earlier than expected.
And that was the last gating item, correct?
Correct. And I also talked with the accountant after our meeting today, and I'm like, hold on, one of the things I forgot is the small-scale bike and ped grants are 50%. I'm like, so we're only paying 50% of those costs. I'm like, you guys, where's that? Do we build that Parsons Hill yet? And they haven't even built Parsons Hill yet
What do you mean
Really?
they haven't
for
built?
reimbursement. We paid, but we haven't got the reimbursement back.
Oh, so we have half of that project coming
Like
in.
75,000 or so coming back in.
So that makes the 20% match on this project a lot more palatable.
And the quotes that came in today for the South Street, that'd be 50% on that one, so not to exceed 75,000. So it'd be about somewhere around 70,500. So the ARPA money, the carryover, or I mean, budget surplus, was in that resolution for 115,000. So that's gonna save some off that, 70 to, well, I'll say 70. If this stays 70,000, or if the price holds true, I'll,
$45,000.
yeah.
So that makes that 20% match of the 1.7 million a
Gets us
lot
closer.
easier, a lot more easily reachable.
Yeah.
I mean, more to follow, because we got to have a discussion this fall about how much our allocation for sidewalks should be for subsequent years and subsequent projects. Because this is only phase one, and for the public's knowledge, this would be sidewalks from North Street to potentially the Federated Church, at least the post office, on the north side of Main Street, and from Glenbrook to the village store, or at least as far as Elm Street on the south side.
And like-
Still have a question, Ray?
Yeah, I have a question. Seeing you're talking about sidewalks, there's a very dangerous, and I don't know whether it's on the books, but if it's not, it should be, from the Hyattville Plaza to East Creek Road. It's very dangerous there. People get off at the Hyattville Plaza, and then they either walk on the dirt path, or they go on to the highway. And it's very dangerous down through that area for both bikers, walkers, who want to get to the lake from, up towards Fort Collins.
Well, it's not on, we don't have a scoping study for that yet, but it's been on my radar for a while. And once we get Main Street done and the village done, then we're gonna be looking for other projects, and that, in my opinion, should be on a short list, because I do agree with you, that could be potentially dangerous. But it's gonna be several years before we can even get it on the list, just so you know. But, my goal eventually would be to see a sidewalk all the way from Creek Road to the Amtrak station. I don't know if that's achievable, but that's what I would like to see. I think you agree with that.
I do.
But that's a lot of money and a lot of time, and, that may be a 15 or 20-year goal, if it's even
Short
achievable.
distance. It's not
Pardon?
like it's,
Yeah, what you're talking about, Roy, is a very small part of that, but, we're talking about several miles of sidewalk that doesn't exist if we got the whole thing done. But I think that would probably be on the short list for the next section.
That's certainly in the goal.
So hopefully I've answered your question.
you've answered my question.
Okay.
As long as it's on your radar.
Well, it's been on my radar, and
Yeah, it was on, we talked about it in the past, it was gonna be on the next, small scale bike and ped grant, because it's not big enough for the federal grants. It's just not enough linear footage in it, but it could be the small scale, which is a 50% match. And we have to pay the engineering cost.
And that short of run is a lot easier to do in a couple of years than the large-scale grants. Okay, so let's move on to, here we go. Manager's report.
What are your questions?
None. You've done a good job.
I'm trying to keep, I know I bombard you a lot with email, but
I haven't got any more questions that we haven't already talked about tonight.
I'll tell you, I haven't hired an administrative assistant yet, still going back at it again. We did hire the sewer plant chief operator, so just got one to fill at this point. And I also no health officer, but I'm gonna come back to the board with a proposal on a combined position for health officer, zoning administrator, and building inspector.
All one person.
If we get the right person in there, of course, it's pie in the sky right now, but, we definitely don't have enough hours right now put in for the zoning administrator. We're falling behind on permits and and enforcement is another big one, is her time that she has allocated is spent solely on applications, trying to get those out the door, and there's no time for enforcement. If she did enforcement, she wouldn't be putting people's applications out.
And what are her hours right now?
Tuesdays and Thursdays, and she has basically 12 to 15 hours, but it's what she can put in too. Her full-time job is at Dartmouth. So having somebody that's having competing requirements, sometimes she's not there all the time, that she's supposed to, posted. So it's just becoming more and more, contentious or hot around the collar with people when they, like, where's my zoning permit?
So are you looking at creating a full-time position for those three?
I don't know if it has to be full-time at this point. I'm putting, doing some research on it, but it could be a 30-hour week position, or I don't think we're gonna get somebody to do all three of them if there's not benefits with it. So that's gonna throw in anywhere from $20,000 to $40,000 from a single to a family plan. But but if we start looking at if we're putting more time into the health and the building, because what I'm gonna come back to with the board with a proposal is on doing certificates of occupancy. Certificates of occupancy, and then we charge for those, but it's a safety issue is all it is. But I'll come back to you with a proposal, and we can kick it around, and if it doesn't work, it doesn't work, but I'm trying to find a solution, because even the health officer stuff now, I've got 3 dog bites, 2 rat complaints on my plate right now, and it just takes time.
How's your rats doing?
They're happy.
Okay.
They're being fed, and I found out from the state, there's nothing I can do. It has to become to a point where it's a major health hazard. They say residents or homeowners are supposed to protect their property. So if your neighbors have rats, you put rat traps out. Don't put food out. Don't track them in there. And short of civil issues, that there's not much that we can do. I've called the city of Rutland health officer. I called the state. I called the Rutland office, and everybody's the same. You're like, it's kind of a touchy situation. We really don't know how to help you.
So if my neighbor has happy rats, which they do not, but if they did, then it's up to me to defend my property within legal means.
Yeah, I mean, the people that are around these 2 areas, they're putting traps out and they're catching them. But
Yeah, those things carry a lot of diseases.
so they're saying, until it becomes a public health epidemic or problem, I can't have legal authority to shut a place down.
So what, if somebody has to get sick first?
Yeah, that's what I said. So you have to have an epidemic or some issue before you really can put some leverage behind it. They did say that I could send a letter to the homeowner and say, this has been brought to our attention, the house, especially rental properties, like your renters are doing things that are creating this problem, and we need to do something about it. And then
Well, are these properties rentals?
No.
Okay, because I've said if they're rentals and you have a responsible landlord, then there's, at least you stand a chance of getting it resolved.
One place is, a lady owns it and her relative lives there, but I'm not really sure if it's a rental. I think he just lives there. But I haven't been down to take pictures because I can't go on the property unless I get permission to go on the property. It's not something I can just barge in and kick a door down and say, hands up rats.
Yeah.
But, so,
Maybe you could send a bunch of cats.
I was gonna say, from the size of the rats, maybe the cats, they'll eat the cats, but, so that's ongoing. And then the sewer stuff, Mark can probably attest to this, that, this, just all of a sudden, I'm starting to do these permits, or finding permits for septic, for zoning permits. So she needs proof that there's a permitted septic system and that kind of stuff. And you saw those files, and I was lucky I found one, because it was 1971, the very first one, and I found it. But, so I signed off on it, yes, I said, it's probably been changed since 1971, but I have no record of it. I went in the state records, couldn't find it. The owner said, somebody just brought it to the town, like, health officer, like 2 years ago. Like, I don't know where it is, but I can't, I had to search.
You can't ask him now.
No, he won't answer me if I did. But it's just searching through papers. There's no way to, it's not digitized, and that, I want to get to that point where I can just do a quick search and keyword and find things, rather than dig through 5, 6 file drawers.
40 years of pencil notes.
Yep. Good notes, good, I mean, well documented, just not easy to find. And they say, I don't know what year it is. I'm like, well, from 1971 to now.
Yeah.
Can you narrow it down for me? So, yeah, anyway, it just takes time, that's all.
Anything else on the manager's report? Any more questions for Mike? And we'll move on to purchase orders.
I would make a motion to approve purchase order number 055190 to MS Martin Enterprises for $2,414 for an in-car radar unit, 100% of which is going to be funded by the Highway Safety Grant.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Would make a motion to approve purchase order number 055386 to Casella Construction for 3-inch crushed stone for mud season gravel road repairs for the sum of $3,224.41.
Second.
Any discussion?
Just so you're aware, we didn't really use anything this spring. We haven't really had a lot, so that, we shouldn't be asking for that next year, unless we have like a super bad season, but.
Good. Would make a motion to approve purchase order number 055455 to Pump Control Solutions for the pump controls for the SBR pump, and that's for $3,225.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Would make a motion to approve purchase order number 055387 to Brown's Quarried Stone for the sum of $3,276, and that's for the T-Ball Field parking lot.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Would make a motion to approve purchase order number 055384 to Hay Gov for the service and support for 3/30/26 to 3/30/27 for the sum of $4,000.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Would make a motion to approve purchase order number 055436 to Tyler Technologies Incorporated for the 10% retainage for project number 15098 for the sum of $27,500.
Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Do I have discussion?
Yes.
There needs to be.
I object to paying this at this time because I think they did a lousy job. I don't feel that they went to the houses or businesses or whatever like they were supposed to. And last I knew, Mary Jo still had a problem with them.
What was the last thing you said?
Mary Jo has a problem.
Mary Jo has a problem?
Yeah, Mary Jo Teeter, our assessor.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, she doesn't think they did a very good job either, and she's still making adjustments on an individual basis, you know, as people come in and say, they didn't go through the formal grieving process, but she reviews as her annual, reviews, and she'll say, I agree that they were wrong. So anytime that there's anything is lower in assessments, if she says, yeah, that should be $5,000 lower of the value, everything that comes off that they did, that she says that she feels is incorrect, it just comes off our grand list numbers. It just keeps eroding away at this thing. I mean, I don't know if it's gonna equal $27,500, but still, the fact is that we're still cleaning up after a mess.
Now, about a year ago, Mark, you had a meeting with them, and you guys made some decisions and made an agreement, and so I would ask for your opinion on whether or not they satisfied the agreement you made with them.
I guess I was under the impression that Mary Jo was satisfied with this, so if that's not the case, I would like to withdraw my second.
No, if you're asking me, as late as last week, talking to her, because there's still ongoing stuff at the state, and they were supposed to stay with us through those representations, and be there if we needed them, and they've basically said, here's our final bill, we're done. And it doesn't really seem like it's honoring the full contract.
Nope, not at all. Can we get a report from Mary Jo?
I still have questions on how just three properties in a row are valued at 200 and change less than the one next to it.
I asked her.
And they didn't go up at all. They went through a reappraisal and they didn't change value at all. And those are just three out of however many.
You're talking about Freda's thing, right?
Yeah, and all those three properties are,
I had Mary Jo print me a list of every property in town where the property value, because that was the issue there. The house value went up, but the property value did not.
Correct.
On those properties you're talking about. And those were the only three that didn't change at all. Now, some properties only changed 10%, and there's a couple that went down 10%, and there's a couple of those property values that went down 10%, I just don't understand. Was there a nice house lot, with a nice house on it, and why did the property value go down 10%? I mean, from, 60,000 to 50,000 or whatever it was, or 200,000 to 180 for the property. I don't understand that, so that's just one more foot. But there were only three that were flat, and those were the three. They were right adjacent to, they were right on Route 30, just north of the Bomoseen Lodge.
Most of the lake properties that I looked at, and I looked at a lot of them, I thought they were pretty much there. A lot of the homes in the village, I think, were very low. There's a lot of homes on South Street that are appraised at 210, 220. And you look at what houses are selling for, and fixer-uppers are selling for 280. And there's nice ranch houses and raised ranch houses that are appraised at 210.
Mary Jo did say that the commercial properties, I think John did those himself. She's really questions those.
Can we add them to the list? The third different party to come in and talk with us? Because I'm not voting for this either.
Well, I think we should start with the report from Mary Jo. So at this point, the motion to approve this purchase order has failed.
Failed to get a second.
Failed to get a second.
Do you want a second so we can vote on it?
No.
No?
we're just not moving forward with it.
Unless you want a second so we can all vote no. I get,
Well, you didn't ask everybody if they're gonna vote no, Dick.
agreed. So,
I was wishing.
So
you
this
would-
motion has
I was
failed for lack of
wishing
a
you would keep your second so we could all vote on it, so we all know where we stand. What's the harm in that?
I don't see a harm. You want to second it, Bob? Go ahead.
I'll second it.
Yeah, we had to second it to have discussion.
Yeah.
So we have a second, we've had discussion, or we have a second now. We've had discussion. Is there any more discussion? All in favor?
Nay.
Nay.
Oh, well, wait a minute. All
I got
opposed,
it,
say
yeah.
nay. All opposed, say nay.
Nay. Sorry.
The nays have it. This motion fails.
Failed by 5, right? 5-0.
5-0 is unanimous. Okay, move on.
Make a motion to approve purchase order number 055320 to Trees Incorporated for tree removal on Moscow Road for the sum of $3,659.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
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 Hi.
Why do I keep wanting to put March?
Well, pretty soon it'll be May, so you'll be almost there.
Perfect. All right, we can move on to warrants.
Make a motion to approve warrant number 0402 for the sum of $67,604.67. Warrant number 0410 for the sum of $30,480.04. Warrant number 0413 for the sum of $150,937.47. Warrant number 0326P for the sum of $18,870.58. Warrant number 0402P for the sum of $19,939.42. And warrant number 0409P for the sum of $20,617.85.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. You signed a lot of hundreds.
There should be the transfer station.
A lot of something. Remember the farm number in the Navy, 1250. I signed thousands of them.
American Parks Company.
That's how mine got the way it is.
Oh, there it is.
Gotta go to Mary Lou.
Mary Lee, yeah, so gotta get them all.
Mary McIntyre.
Here,
Mary
Dick,
Lee's-
I'll bring them over to her if we'll just stack them up all at once
All right.
when these guys are done.
Think you got tuberculosis.
Stay away, stay away.
You want a mint?
Sure.
Probably like 3 years old.
Eh,
Don't taste like anything anymore.
As long as I don't chew it, I broke the front tooth. He fixed it for $434. And within a week I broke it again.
That's
I'm
not a
sorry,
good
I didn't
The
investment.
front tooth.
Oh,
That's a poor investment right there.
There you go, man.
And now what he wants to do is $7,500.
Yeah. Well, it's not a good
He
deal.
wants to put braces on me at my age.
well, if you're talking implants, they're not cheap.
No, it's not implants, they're a type of braces that go over my teeth right now. They're not wires, they're plastic type thing. But he has to cap the front two teeth to do it. $7,500. I don't think so. That's 2 cruises.
Priorities, right?
That's right.
Priorities.
I got my toolbox in the truck. I can do some budget dental repair there if you'd
Yeah.
like.
We can do the George Washington kind.
He said that to me.
Well, we can just line them up tonight after the meeting's over. How's that sound?
I can attempt to whittle you a set of wooden teeth like George Washington had. Can't imagine how that worked. I wouldn't want to try that.
Well, Rob, your mother and I cleaned up at Cribbage today.
So they got the money, Rob, to pay you. That's what she's saying.
Yeah, I got about $35.
That's just enough to cover it for tonight.
That's just what you were looking for, right, Rod?
Or we could donate to the playground.
I'm already donating quilt to the recreation to raffle or do whatever they do to it.
I can't believe how much the playground equipment costs. That really is just blowing my mind. I mean, I played on the same unit that's down there for my whole school career.
You just put a swing in a tree.
Put a tire swing down there and some tires buried in the ground. And the kids will have fun with that.
I think
That
Mary
swing
Lee's
set
right.
down at
Give them a
Hyattville
buck-
Field, I
truck-
believe.
A dump truck load
We
of sand in a
researched that when a
bucket.
tree fell on it. We believe it was put in around.
I spent a lot of time playing in a sand pile.
We've always had a
And we
a
went
sand
to,
pile.
tree fell on it, bent
You
the
had to
top
bring-
pipe, and I got a pipe to replace it. And a guy from
Tractor
Fairhaven,
trailer?
he was a principal at the
They do it
time,
there,
stopped
they
and he
sit on the
said,
outside.
you can't put that back into service.
Father
It's
and the next
not
door neighbor
compliant
went
because
to
the chains
halves
are
on
too
a tandem
long.
load of sand. They dumped it over
So
the
that's
bank
what kids
between the
want,
two
so you can
properties.
go
And the
high. They
neighbors,
go,
boys and
it's
I
too high, you can't do that.
played in that pile for probably 4 or
This is
5
what we're
years
doing.
before we outgrew
wonderful.
it. And
It's
we
been here
enjoyed
since
every minute of it.
1921,
Still
nobody's
need
been
to get-
killed on it yet.
It's got a few more years to go before you can get your money's worth out of that one, I think, so.
Tell them to head back west, back
Right,
to
it determines that's dangerous. It's been here
Only
at that
slightly
point,
wrinkled.
about
Okay,
80
let's-
years.
Yeah.
Let's move on. Select board comments. Mary Lee.
Yes, something's been bothering me for a couple of years, actually. It dates back to when I sat with Dr. Thomas and Frank. What's Frank's last name? And we were talking about the, what is it,
UDR.
UDR. And I said, well, why aren't you just updating the zoning? Why are you going UDR? Oh, Rutland Regional says we had to. Okay. So now they're into the town plan, and they can't seem to do anything without Rutland Regional telling them what they should do. I think Rutland Regional has a little too much pull or say or whatever here. Now, back with the UDR, they even canceled meetings because Ed Grove wasn't available to come. And I don't know that, I just feel uncomfortable that we're being, railroad isn't the word I want to say, the word's not coming to that out, being
Influenced.
overly influenced and not thinking in, I know nobody comes to the meetings, that's our own blame. Well, it just seems like they're just have too much influence, and then when they came for that tier 1, tier 2, and whatnot, everything they sat down with us and whatnot, nothing we said was any good. So I'm just uncomfortable. Can't fully say why, but I'm uncomfortable that we depend on them as much as we do. Any,
I think that they're a good municipal resource, but I think like any government body, whether it be this select board or Congress, I think you still have to, you can listen to their opinions and they can give you guidance, but I think that everyone still needs to make their own decisions. I think that's clear, you know, that right now in the state of Vermont, there appear to be more active progressives, people that would identify as being progressive party, than traditional Democrats or Republicans. And I think that, you know, they have their ideas and ideals, and they're trying to move forward with them. And they probably, you know, they can offer good opinions that are worth listening to, but I think at the end, you still have to decide what works for you, for your community, or state, you know, whatever level we're working on.
I guess what really started me on this was way back when I was sitting with Dr. Thomas and Frank, and I just said, why are we changing even the name of it? And they said, because Rutland Regional said they had to. Had to?
I don't know enough about that to speak to that, whether they said you had to, or you should, or this is why people are doing this, I'm not sure about that.
Because I sat down with them a couple times going through, reading it over and over and over again. No fun. And, you know, a lot of it they hadn't changed. They said zoning this, zoning that, instead of whatever. So, you know, we came to an agreement on it. It wasn't that I was against the thing. I was just kind of against the fact that they even canceled meetings because Ed Bove couldn't come. And it seems though, just because he couldn't come didn't mean that they couldn't work forward and maybe have more questions for him when he did come or something. I'm just uncomfortable with, it seems, the control that they have.
I'm not sure they actually have that much control.
I'm not either, but it seems like there is.
You know, I think when people talk confidently to further their ideas or ideals, oftentimes it seems like, hey, maybe this is a law or a requirement, when it isn't.
Well,
You know, and it goes back to what
I think it's something we should keep in mind, though.
I think it's something powerful to keep in mind. We just learned a good lesson with Act 181. You know, our state legislature passed a law that is overwhelmingly unpopular in the state. And the progress of that was available to all of us. You know, I mean, that's all held in public hearings. Do we have time to review everything that happens in the legislature every day?
Unfortunately, no.
Unfortunately, we don't. You know, I get the Vermont Digger recap every day. It takes about 5 minutes to read. It doesn't cover everything.
No, there's a lot of stuff that goes on that we just don't have any clue about. No, I wasn't on the board when that came through, but I would like to see, I mean, I would think like Rutland Region Planning Commission, for example, would have been on top of that when it first came out. Like that would have been something that would have been in their wheelhouse. And I would like to see those guys bring that stuff to the town ahead of time to say, hey, this is what's coming down the, you know, down the pipe. This is going to affect you in the future. This is something you need to be paying attention to. Not wait until it's all passed and then come in and say, well, you guys are still going to have control over everything, but the, you know, when, not necessarily how it works. So I don't know. Like Mark's saying, there's so much stuff that's going on legislative wise. I follow a lot of it, but I can't quite follow everything that goes on. And it would be nice if we had major stuff like that that came to us as it was happening.
What I will do is I'll call Frank Johnson and get his opinion on Rutland Regional and provide you feedback, and the rest of the board. And I'll give you a report at the next meeting
Okay.
on what Frank's opinion is, and if we need to do a little deeper dive on what our Rutland Regional Planning Commission's input is on this town, then, you know, we as the select board are the legislative body and have the authority to determine how much influence they should or should not have. So I'll do a little research and provide you guys with a report. At least get Frank's opinion and perhaps one or two other people on the planning commission. It would have been interesting to get Mr. Bruno's opinion, but he's not. Unfortunately, we can't ask him either, because his opinion was, I didn't always agree with him, but sometimes some really good stuff came out of his mouth that really made a lot of sense. And this could have been one of those times.
My father was a founding member of the Rutland Regional Planning Commission in 1969, 1970, and it was formed by representatives from all the different towns, and they served as an information base. You know, they didn't say, you need to do this. If a town was considering zoning laws, they would sit down and say, hey, this is what we've collected. This is, as a town, what you're allowed to do in Vermont. This is what other towns have done, you know, not to influence what anyone did,
to educate,
but to educate, you know, because it's so hard. You know, if we came in here and, you know, if you went back 35 years and a chemical plant came in here and built on the edge of the river, we might not have any authority to do anything. And there would be a clearinghouse, a non-regulatory, they didn't have any regulatory capabilities, but they could give you information. Of course, every place that provides information ends up being political one way or the other, right? The people there are going to be very conservative, in the middle, more liberal, and they're gonna give the information in what they think is the right thing to do. You know, there's no such thing as non-political. Everybody's influence goes one way or the other. And I think that's what's happened. They're not a regulatory body. You know, they don't.
Yeah, they have no authority.
Well, let me start by getting Frank's opinion, and then if I do need to talk to Doc Thomas or somebody else, I'll get a little deeper dive, and then I'll get back to you. Or I'll get back to the entire
They were the
board.
two I was talking to begin with.
Yeah. I'll start with Frank, and then if I need to go a little deeper, I will. Okay?
Yeah, there's a lot of different ways to look at land use, you know, it's.
Okay, anything else, Mary Lee?
Nope, I'm fine.
Mark?
I do have one thing I want to mention. So, at our last meeting, Mr. Pike came in, and he was upset about what he thought was a local issue. Turned out it was the culvert that the state was putting in, and there was nothing that we could do to help him. At the end of that, our town manager, Mike, spoke up and offered to help Mr. Pike, a man of a mature age, and he had some other difficulties. He'd lost his phone, didn't have any communication, and Mike offered to take time out of his day, which we know is a pretty full job being the town manager, and he hasn't had an assistant for months, so now he's got 80 hours a week, or 90. But he offered to help Mr. Pike because Mr. Pike didn't have a voice. He didn't have any place to go with it. And Dick, I know you participated in that meeting, and I just think that that deserves an honorable mention. That, you know, if someone comes in and has a complaint about the highway department, then that's your job. But this wasn't your job. What you did spoke to your character. And to help a person, a citizen of the community that needs help and doesn't have an outlet, and as a body, the select board didn't have any authority to help him. You know, that human compassion, that integrity is really touching. And I know that Mike and Dick went out there and they made some other arrangements to help him in some other problems he was having. And that just deserves an honorable mention.
No, thank you.
Thank you for that.
I think I got some help too.
Good.
Good, because there wasn't a lot we could do about the pole. Because of how they're moving the culvert, and whether we agree with what they're doing with the culvert is another separate issue, but
He
after
didn't
they
even
move
have
the
a phone to
culvert,
call
then
them.
the pole that's on side A has to be on side B, and it is the state right away, so there's really no.
Robert F. Kennedy said, "Who will speak for those that don't have a voice?"
So we put a little bit of effort into it, and Mike put more effort in than I did, and he did get something done.
Yeah, the first one was a dead end, but the second one is looking good for him.
Good.
So you got him some answers. That's the main thing.
Yeah, I'm gonna-
I don't think he
I'll
had
take him
any
to
idea
coffee
where to
now.
turn.
He's a great guy to talk to. He's got a lot of
yeah, he
stories.
is.
Oh, he's got a lot of stories. It took longer than it needed to, but it was a very interesting conversation.
You know, when you work with older people that might be lonely, it takes a little more time.
Yep.
You know, he's got a rich life, and he deserved to have someone that took time to help him.
Well, thank you, Mark. Appreciate that.
Yes, thank you for bringing that.
Anything else, Mark?
That's it.
Bob?
I'm good. I'm good.
Rob?
I got nothing that we didn't cover earlier.
Same here. So we'll move on to action items. So I'm gonna call Frank Johnson and get his opinion on Rutland Regional, and then maybe do a deeper dive. What else we got? Mike's got a long list, so we don't need to reiterate it all. You've got everything written down, right, Mike?
I do.
Anything else?
I'm still trying to meet with Tim Trombley. When he's available, I'm not. When I'm available, he's not. So.
But you're still putting the effort in.
Yes, I call him like every other day.
Fair enough.
Yeah, he calls me.
Now, is he gonna know what his father did?
Well, he was the one doing it, so if he's got a memory of 30
okay.
years ago, yeah.
It's
He
worth a
worked with-
shot.
Yeah. He did say he did not put the pipe in from the road to the seawall. He did say that. That was not them. So I don't know. We're at a loss for that.
Well, find out what he does know,
Okay,
and then
I'm
we'll,
working on it. I just want to let you guys know.
Can I say something too?
certainly.
I just want to, it's really refreshing to have the board members step up and help when things are difficult right now, but, you know, the Julie Lane thing and the Kearns thing, and you got, all the work you guys have done, and Mr. Pike, so I appreciate all that too, because it keeps you in the know as well, and people get to know that the select board's actually taking some cares as well, so. Whether they like the answer or not, sometimes it's, at least somebody took time to look into it, so thank you for that.
Yeah, even if you can't always solve their problem, at least they've had a chance to voice it and know that somebody cares.
If Tim can meet in an afternoon too sometime,
Okay, you want him?
I could meet with him
Okay,
too.
okay,
But it's gotta be like a Tuesday, Wednesday, or Thursday afternoon after like 2.
okay, okay.
Anything else for action items? Is that all we got? Okay. Then, I think that, well, I know we need a one for personnel, and it may not be very long, but we need an executive session for personnel. And for contracts. We'll do personnel first.
I move to find that premature general public knowledge regarding the personnel matter at hand would put the board at a substantial disadvantage because of the sensitive nature of the personnel situation.
Do I have a
I
second?
second it.
All in favor?
Aye. I move that we enter into executive session to discuss the personnel matter at hand under Title 1 VSA 313 3A3.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
We are in executive session at 9:31 with the board and the town manager.